All right, something I want you to understand. I am telling you how to do this, and I want you to hear this paper in the background. This paper is the 8th grade mathematics chart. The reason I have it is because I look at it when I'm doing this stuff. So if you're sitting there saying, geez, the old guy that says to use it is using it, maybe I should use it too. But hey, I'm young and I have a memory. No, you don't need to memorize anything, man. Just go ahead and pull up the paper, take a look at it. All you can do is identify the shape. So the first one, the volume, I'm just going to go ahead and choose the front as our base. So that would make our height 7. So volume, I'm going to go down to the volume section, prism. V equals capital B times H. Capital B means area of the base. Right now we already said that the base was going to be right here. I like that this morning you went ahead and labeled the stuff that wasn't labeled. I think that's a great idea to practice doing something like that because you're going to need to do it for surface area. All right. So area of the base. What shape is the base? Rectangle. So go to area of a rectangle on your formula chart. Base times height. So we're looking at baby B times baby H times height of the prism. So that's what the volume formula looks like when we actually substitute the shape of the base in, which was a rectangle, base times height. Base of the rectangle was 5, and the height of the rectangle was 3. So we've got a 5 times 3 times the height, which is the distance from the front to the back, or the distance from whatever base you chose to its parallel side. So in this case, it's going to be 7. I'm going to be using a cell phone calculator because I want to simulate what we did this morning, not having one. All right, so 5 times 3 is 15. I'm just going to go ahead and simplify. Times 7 is 105. Remember, emphasis, cubic units. If you had anything that even slightly resembled that, fantastic. If you have a question or you need it shown in a different way, let me know. Surface area. So I'm going to go down to the surface area section of a prism. We always do total because the pH plus 2B is going to find everything you need. All right, so what we just went over on the last one was we said, you know what, man, I like it whenever you did this. I like it whenever you labeled all the pieces that were missing. I don't know why that popped up. I think I touched the screen or something. Oh, I touched the button. That's why. 5, 3, and 3. All right. So we had to find the perimeter. Perimeter means adding up all the sides. That's why you went ahead and went through the labor of labeling everything. So 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 3 plus 3. That's 10 plus 6. Gives you a perimeter of 16. You can see how I'm just writing it right beneath. I think one thing that you really need to work on for when you're heading into algebra is just organizing your work. Just make sure you write what you think you don't need, and then just keep it organized so you can be like, okay, P is 16. What is H? H is the distance from what we chose as the front to the back, which is 7. Plus 2 times the area of the base. We already figured out the area of the base was 5 times 3, 15. All right, so we know to solve this one section at a time. So 16 times 7 is 112 plus 30. So that should give us 142 square units. And the only reason I know it's square units is because that A and SA means surface area. Area is square units because there's only 2 dimensions. All right. Now the question comes up. What is the lateral surface area? Right here. So the 15 and 15, so you have 15 in the front and you have 15 in the back. That would make your 2 times the area of the base. Everything around the sides, the top, and bottom would be your lateral. So imagine seeing a box going in this direction. You can see all the way through it to the other end. Okay. Next. Volume of a what? Triangular prism. That's what. So let's just go ahead and just keep on emphasizing the habit we have. This is the base. That's a great idea. Let's label all the spots on this triangle that we don't have. Okay, I see back there it says 9. I see up there it says 8. Cool. Now I'm ready for everything. Volume of a prism is still V equals capital BH. Guess what? I looked at the formula chart. That's how much I don't even try and remember it. All right, so what shape is the base? It is a triangle. So I need to go to the area formula, triangle, 1/2 base times height. We covered that whenever you find a half of something, you're just dividing it by 2. So make sure that you're emphasizing that you're being meticulous about, okay, where's the right angle? Where's that dotted line showing the height? Because wherever you see the height is where you're going to find the base. So the base is 7 and the height is 10. So we have base times height divided by 2 times the height of the prism. We just said the base of the triangle was 7. Said the height of the triangle was 10. What is the height of the prism? The distance from one triangle to the other, which would be 14. I know that you're going to be tempted to solve all these things in one little tiny section and have like 7 times 10 over here and then have like divided by 2 down here. I highly discourage that. 70 divided by 2 times 14. And then you're going to have 35 times 14. And that will give you 490. And we found volume, so that's going to be cubes. 490 cubic units. And it might say like 7 inches, 14 inches, 8 inches, 9 inches. Then you'd have 490 cubic inches. So the only reason I'm using units is because I didn't label it. All right. Surface area. Let's go ahead and just do our thing of identifying all the parts. 9, 8. All right, cool. So you can hear me. You can hear the paper. All right. Surface area of a prism. pH plus 2b. Oh, my goodness. pH plus 2b. All right. So perimeter of the base. What shape is the base? Triangle. That means we're going to be adding up 3 numbers because there are 3 sides. 9, 8, and 7. That's going to be 16 plus 8 should be 24. Okay. The height of the prism, the distance from the front triangle to the back triangle was 14 plus 2 times the area of the base. All right. So on the volume problem, we already did the area of the base. Area of the base was base times height divided by 2. We said the base of the triangle was 7. We said the height of the triangle was 10. So 7 times 10 divided by 2. 70 divided by 2 is 35. All right, so we got area 35. We solve each of these sections separately. 24 times 14, 336. Keep in mind, I'm doing all this with a cell phone right now. 2 times 35 is 70. So that's showing, my point is that I'm using a cell phone. It's not because I'm magical. It's because the math is so simple and laid out that we can do all of it on a cell phone. So 336 plus 70 should be 406. And we found surface area, so that's going to be units squared. If you wanted to go for lateral, which would be excluding the triangles, then you'd be looking at 336. That would be the 3 rectangles. One right there, there's one over there, and there's one on bottom. And if you were to look through this, you'd look through the front and you'd see all the way through the back. That would be eliminating the two bases, which each had an area of 35. All right. Volume. All right. So at least we're done with surface area. Just kidding. Volume, we're looking at area, or volume equals area of the base times height. Geez, this is so hard to remember. All right, so the area of the base, we can automatically determine that we're looking at a circle here. So we're going to go to the area formulas, circle pi r to the second, or pi r squared. So I'm going to substitute all that in, pi r squared times the height of the cylinder. I'm going to rewrite this with what I know. I think that you're doing a fantastic job of identifying the radius. You know that all the way across is the diameter. To get a diameter to turn into a radius, you just cut it in half. So just really pay attention. Are you looking at a radius or a diameter? You know you need a radius. So we're going to do 3.14 times 5, times 5 squared times the height, which was 12. I would not type all this in. I would do 3.14 times 25 times 12. Type all that in and do that. It's all the same operation. It's multiplication, so it should be okay. 25 times 12. 942. 942. What kind of units? Cubic. Yeah. If you said squared, go back and retry that again. And whenever I say, what kind of units? You go, cube. And I'm like, yeah. And then that whenever you hear it the second time, you'll be like, oh, wow, I got it the first time. And then we can play along like you got it. All right. Surface area total of a cylinder is 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. 2 pi r. Who memorizes this? Plus 2 pi r squared. Math teachers. Those are the only people that know this. And now 8th graders for a very short period of time. All right, so I'm going to rewrite 2 times 3.14 times the radius, 5, times the height, 12, plus 2 times 3.14 times 5 squared. Oh my goodness, that looks horrible. I'm going to do this section first. 2 times 3.14 times 5 times 12. And you know, I'm not writing all this stuff out because I'm sitting there going like, man, you need to see how this is written. I'm writing it out so I can solve the problem. Because I can't do it otherwise. Then 2 times 3.14 times 25, 157. Okay, so when we add those up, plus 376.8, 533.8, 533 and 8/10. And we found surface area. So that's going to be units. You say it. Squared. You were like, to the second power squared. So yeah, that's what I meant to say. Okay, so since we're talking about total surface area, this is going to be the label that is wrapping around the can of soup. Everything but the circles. So if you were to look through the top of it, you'd be able to see all the way through the bottom. Okay. All right, volume of a pyramid. 1/3 area of the base times height. We already talked about that. When you're finding a third of something, you can definitely type it in the calculator. 1/3 times the area of the base times the height, or exactly what we did for finding the volume of a prism. You simply just divide that answer by 3. Cool, so let's see how easy this is. What we did before was we outlined our base. That way we could see what we needed to see. Okay, cool. I got my eyes on it now. We know that that's a rectangle because it's 3 by 4. Area of a rectangle or parallelogram, base times height. So base times height times the height of the pyramid divided by 3. Base and height, 3 and 4. 3 times 4 times the height of the pyramid, 6. You can see the dotted line is telling you exactly where everything is. Times 6 divided by 3. All right. So I'm going to type in 3 times 4 times 6, 72. divided by 3. 24. 24. What kind of units? Say it with me. Cubed. Because we found volume. Cubes will fit inside of that. And you're like, how do cubes fit inside of pyramids? Well, cubes don't completely fit inside of pyramids unless you shave some of the corners off of them and redistribute them elsewhere. Basically, you're finding an average of cubes. And it would take exactly 24 to fill this. Okay. Volume of a cone. You're sitting there going like, dude, there's no numbers on it. Yeah, I know. Because I just want you to rewrite the formula. There's no doubt in my mind that you can type stuff in a calculator. I think we're past that point. The idea is you've got a circle for your base, so that's going to be area of the base. Go to the area formulas, circle, rewrite. And if you want to take a moment to rewrite all of this stuff right now, because that's what you're supposed to do here, highly encourage you to do so. I think it's a great idea to practice and then see if you did anything wrong, or you can just solidify the idea that you've already got. So we said that the area is going to be of a circle, so that's going to be pi r squared times h. Hey, look, this looks really similar to the volume of a cylinder, because it is. The volume of a cone is 1/3 of a cylinder. So they're the same thing. Where do you think cones come from? They come from cylinders. All right. 3.14. Oh, yeah, we don't have any numbers. Done. What kind of units would we use? Units. Say it with me. Cubed. Yay. Yay. All right. Last one, and then we have covered I'd say over half of the formula chart. Sphere. This looks like it's crazy, but it's not. I would say, since you know how to use the calculator, do 4/3 times pi r cubed. Actually use the fraction function that we use to multiply by 4/3. You can also do the entire thing like this, 4 pi r cubed, and then divide the whole thing by 3. That's the same thing. So calculator on top, or if you want to go section by section, simplify the top first. So that would be 4 times 3.14 times the radius. Hey, look at that. It's going halfway across. Fantastic. That's 2 cubed. So that's 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So I'm going to rewrite that. 4 times 3.14 times 8 divided by 3. I have no idea what that is, so I'm going to type it in my trusty cell phone calculator. 4 times 3.14 times 8. That's 100.48 divided by 3. That'll give you a volume of this sphere of about 33 49/100. And I mean, just to be exact, you got a 3 repeating at the end. What kind of units? We found volume. Units cubed. So you're sitting there going, how do cubes fit inside of a sphere? Well, you can see here that it's being approximated on this side right here, 0.493. Point is, if you can set up a formula, you can find the formula to use, and you know the parts, which you do, then you can figure this part out. Best of luck to you, man. Let me know if there's anything else I can do.